7 o'clock, time for our regularly scheduled meeting. Mike, will you call the roll, please?
Collier Wise.
Here.
Helwig.
Here.
Holland.
Here.
Humphrey.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Ward. Wilson. Mayor Powell.
Here. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Item 3 are minutes for July 1st special meeting and July 1st regular meeting.
Move approval?
Motion is second to approve both sets of minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 4, adoption of agenda. Mike, John, any additions, corrections?
Move approval? Second.
Motion and a second to approve the adoption of the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Under visitors to be heard, addressing the council, persons addressing the council shall use the microphone at the podium. Please raise your hand to be recognized. Go to the podium and state your name and address. For items that are not on the agenda, members of the public may speak under visitors to be heard on any topic not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 5 minutes and no decision will be made at this time. For agenda items, public testimony will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item. Public testimony will then be closed and the topic will be given to the governing body for possible action. At this point, only city council members and staff may discuss the current agenda item unless a council member moves to allow another person to speak and there is unanimous consent from the council. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the public through the presiding officer at any time. At this point, we have a proclamation recognizing July as Parks and Rec Month. And Rich, please.
Proclamation. Didn't know I had that good of a voice. Designation of July as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of the communities throughout this country, including Vermillion, and whereas parks and recreation is vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our community, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of our community and region. And whereas Vermillion's parks and recreation programs build a healthy and active community that aids in the prevention of chronic disease, provides therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improves the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas our parks and recreation programs increase the community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas the city parks and natural recreation areas improve our water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and national recreation areas ensure that the ecological beauty of our community provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the United States House of Representatives have designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Vermillion recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore we, the governing body of the City of Vermillion, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim July 2019 as Parks and Recreation Month and encourage all residents to participate in the observance by being outside and enjoying our local parks and recreation centers. Dated at Vermillion, South Dakota, 15th day of July 2019.
Thank you, Rich. Jim? Speech. 7.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, administration. Thank you for recognizing National Parks and Recreation Month, and especially here in Vermillion. On behalf of the recreation, parks, and golf staff that we hear, we do truly appreciate the job that we do for the community. We really believe it improves the quality of life, not only for our citizens, but for our visitors in this community as well. We have great facilities, we have nice parks, and part of that is because of the hard work that we do, but our part-time staff does as well, but the support from you guys. as I've been told a couple times, we cost a lot of money and we don't bring a lot in. But we also think we provide a quality of life that's almost second to none around here. We're very proud of what we do, and we hope that what we do makes you guys proud as council people and citizens in this community, that they know they can go to their parks for the plays or the swings or baseball or whatever it may be, that they have something a little bit for everybody. So on behalf again of my staff, I thank you guys all for supporting us and recognizing Parks and Rec Month here in Vermillion.
Thank you, Jim, and please share that with your staff.
I will do that. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on any topic that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, is there anyone on the council that has any item that they'd like to bring forward? Well, seeing none, we'll move on then to public hearings. Item 6A, a retail on-off sale malt beverage license and retail on-off sale wine and cider license for Aramark Educational Services, LLC at Sanford Coyote Sports Center in Dakota Dome, 1101 North Dakota Street. And Mike, please.
Applications are received for retail on-off sale malt beverage and retail on-off sale wine and cider license from Aramark Education Services for portions of the Sanford Coyote Sports Center in Dakota Dome located at 1101 North Dakota Street, as outlined in the diagrams included in the packet. The retail on-off sale wine and cider license is for the licensing period from issuance to expire on December 31st, 2019, while the on-off sale malt beverage license is for the licensing period from issued and will expire on June 30th, 2020. The City Council has the ability to issue a license on basically two criteria: suitable applicant and suitable location. As to suitable applicant, the local Aramark Food Services Director, Adam Shequin, has submitted the information for the DCI and FBI background check. The DCI background check was received by the police chief, and his memo states there's no information to preclude the issuance of the license. With respect to the location criteria, City Code section requires the City Council to determine whether the retail alcoholic beverage license application provides suitable location before issuing or renewing a license. The South Dakota law was changed in 2018 to allow an exception for alcoholic beverage licenses to be issued to locations on campuses. The USD athletic beverage sales permit application was approved by the USD president. It's included in the packet. The police chief's memo indicates that the request represents a deviation from our standard method of sale, as sales are intended for special limited space area during sports event. Police chief indicated he met with Adam Shequin, the Aramark Food Service Director, and Dave Herbster, USD Athletic Director, who outlined the following policies to be used to control access to alcoholic beverages. Persons wishing to be served are required to present identification, have a wristband put on that servers can see who is 21 years of age or older. The areas where alcohol is allowed is limited to the Core Trust Club and adjacent club seating in Dakota Dome Club and Coyote Landing as indicated on the diagrams. Within these areas, staff will be present and will challenge anyone who is not wearing a wristband and or appears to be under 21 years of age, who possesses an alcoholic beverage or consumes an alcoholic beverage. Alcohol sales will be limited to 2 drinks per transaction. All servers will be tips certified. Servers will not sell to anyone who is visibly intoxicated. In basketball games, alcohol sales will cease when there's 10 minutes left on the game clock. In football games, sales will cease in the third quarter. The fee is $500 for the retail on-off sale wine and cider license, which is retained by the city. The fee for the retail on-off sale malt beverage license is $300, with the city retaining $150. Administration would recommend approval of the retail on-off sale wine and cider license and retail on-off sale malt beverage license for Aramark Education Services for the areas outlined in the diagram, it is recommended the license be issued contingent upon the controls being put in place as described in the police chief's memo. I think we have Adam Shequin here and Dave Herbster. If there's questions.
Thank you, Mike. That 10 minutes, if there's a double header, is it the 10 minutes of the second game?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Any comments or anything that either of you wish to bring forward? Since you made the trip down here. If you don't, we'll turn it to the council for deliberation. Tom?
Well, I go way back when alcoholism, whether it was allowed or not, existed, especially in the student section where the law school is now. So this is we've really come full circle here. The question I have, I would like clarification, is this is only for people who are club members or their guests, and the rest of the people cannot have alcohol?
That is correct. Right now, the guidelines or the policies that were underneath from the Board of Regents is that we can only sell in areas that are controlled areas. We cannot sell to the general public. So we have to have controlled areas, both in confined spaces and control both in and out.
So you have to have a paid membership to get into one of these sections in the first place?
It could be a paid membership, or it has to be an invitation only, a written invitation to get in. In some cases, that written invitation is considered both either your Howling Pack membership or your ticket level.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Other comments or questions? Rich?
How do you intend to police 2 drink minimums? I mean, it's fine, but why even do it?
Why even charge for it, you mean? Or?
No, 2 drink minimum, you say, no more than 2 drinks.
At one time.
And that's 2 per transaction, so if you come up to the bartender and let's say you want a beer, a glass of wine, you can.
Understood. Not just 2 drinks period, but 2 drinks at a time.
Correct.
Otherwise,
Thank
you have
you.
to keep tally.
Yeah, I wondered how they did it.
I'd ask the same question.
Growlers. Other comments or questions? Questions of the council? Motion is second to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item B, a resolution adopting an integrated resource plan as required by the Western Area Power Administration, or WAPA, under the Energy Planning and Management Rules. And John, please.
Thank you. This is something that comes before the City Council every 5 years. You're asked to consider this plan. And this is due to WAPA. We are a customer who has firm capacity purchase. That is, we purchase an allotment of WAPA power every year, and then that's blended with our secondary power supplier or supplemental power supplier. As a firm power capacity customer, we're required to complete this plan and file it with WAPA every 5 years. MRES really does a lot of the work for us. They review the short and long-term forecasts. They talk about in the plan some modeling methods that they reviewed, renewable energy practices and resources. This last 2 versions, they've talked a lot about the Bright Energy Solutions program and the difference that's making in terms of both the load that we have and preventing future load from being built or created to help meet the needs of the community. And even on tonight's invoices payable, there's a number of Bright Energy Solutions rebates. So that program is making a difference here in our community and then also throughout the Missouri River and Energy Services footprint. They talk about the impact on demand and the savings that this plan would produce. The plan is obviously very long. We did include for your packet some of the goals that they have established for the next 5-year plan, and we would recommend approval of the integrated resource plan.
Thank you, John. Council?
Second?
Motion is second to approve the plan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, John. We have no old business, so we'll move to new business. Item A, a request to close North Pine Street from East Cedar Street to East National Street on Thursday, August 22, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for Alpha Phi's sorority recruitment bid day. And Jolly, please.
Sounds good. So on August 22nd, Alpha Phi will be hosting their recruitment bid day for their incoming students to join their sorority, and they requested the closure of either North Plum or North Pine. I decided to go with North Pine from East Cedar to East National because that's where their front doors are for their sorority. So that event will be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the request. It's actually from 11:30 to 2, but I just wanted to clarify that that would be enough time, and then they changed it and said they wanted more time to allow for their event and also the cleanup process, so we changed it to 10 to 3. And so when they had this event in 2017, when they had the actual street closure then, there were no problems that were identified. So that's why we identified that the street police and fire have been notified of this event and that cleanup will be handled at 3 p.m. after the closure of the event, and the barricades will be removed immediately. So according to the request, the event coordinator from Alpha Phi will meet with neighbors to identify and notify them of where the closings will be and the proper barricades there. And therefore, we recommend that City Council approve the temporary closing of North Pine Street from East Cedar to East National Street from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So,
Thank you, Jolly. Council? A motion and a second to approve the request. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item B, a lease agreement with Clay County for Fairgrounds property. And Mike, please.
The city owns the land on both sides of High Street, west to Princeton Street. That includes the fairgrounds. The city has leased the fairgrounds portion of the property to Clay County for the fair operations for many years. The last lease agreement was dated in 1980, for a 25-year period. The lease was amended in 2003 to remove the land used by the Vermillion transit bus when the new building was built there for the transit buses and for their operations. The existing land lease expired a number of years ago, and the county, at the request of the Fair Board, would like to have the lease in effect. The lease was prepared following the old lease, but updated to exclude property which has been removed from the lease, such as the bus barn, the telecommunications tower, the ball fields, and National Guard Armory. And the lease was reviewed by the city attorney and then provided to Travis Mockler, the county commissioner representing the Fair Board. The county commission referred it to the state's attorney. They reviewed the lease and, working with Jim McCullough, added the language to the subleasing that would allow for the leaser to have the city manager or his designee approve the subleasing. They were concerned that if they had to wait for a next council meeting, 2 weeks could be too long if something was trying to get done in a hurry, to allow the ability to sublet the property. The cost to the city would be the city attorney's time in reviewing that. The county commission has already approved the lease, and administration would recommend approval of the fairground lease with Clay County to formalize what has continued to operate following the expiration of the last lease.
Thanks, Mike. Comments, questions, council? Tom?
Mike, can you clarify on, under the lesser covenants, and maybe, Mike, you can do this too, the consent to sublet may be obtained from the lesser via the city manager or designee. Is there a timeline on that, reporting to the council that it's been done? Or is that just not in there, or is not a problem or an issue? Or
I guess
how soon must the council be notified?
There's no requirement in the lease that the city council be notified, but if the council wanted to be notified, it could be done in the same manner in which the city manager notifies the city council of raffles and lottery activities in the city. So
Okay.
if that's something you want to have the city manager, his or her designee do, you could request that.
That could be understood. I don't have to.
No.
Okay. Yeah, because rather than it be sublet and then suddenly we find out sooner than we thought, I just thought it was worth asking.
that last sentence was added to what was in the old lease, and as far as I know,
Right.
we've never brought a sublease to the city council in the past 30 years.
Okay. I move approved.
Motion to second to approve the lease. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks, Mike. Item C, transfer of fire department equipment. And Chief, Matt, please.
Thank you. According to state law, we're allowed to transfer assets from one government entity to another government entity. Because of our equipment replacement that we do here, we currently have 24 coats and 24 pairs of pants of turnout gear that are ready to be surplused. There is no monetary value to them. They are past their expiration date per the NFPA, but there is a department out there that is in need of turnout gear, and this would be an upgrade for them of about 15 years newer on the stuff that they currently have. For us, there is no monetary or financial consideration, and we would recommend approval transfer to the Davis Fire Department.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments for the Chief?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second to approve the transfer. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks, Chief. Item D, acceptance of the 2018 audited comprehensive annual report. Mike.
And the audit report was presented to the City Council at the noon meeting by Chad Reiner with Williams and Company. As the Department of Legislative Audit has oversight over all city copies, a copy of the report has been submitted to their office. And included in the packet is the letter from the Department of Legislative Audit accepting the 2018 audit report. Copies of following acceptance by the City Council, copies of the report will be placed on our website and emailed out to those that get copies of them annually. We'll also get some over to the library. The auditor at the noon when he was leaving there also had a copy of the management letter, which I handed out tonight, which covers their report to the City Council on what's probably outside the audit, significant audit findings, difficulties encountered in performing the audit, corrected and uncorrected misstatements, disagreements with management, management responsibilities, and other audit findings or issues and other matters. The administration recommend the City Council accept the audited comprehensive annual report for 2018.
Thank you, Mike. Council. A motion to accept the 2018 audited comprehensive annual report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. We have no bid openings this evening. City Manager's report, John.
Thank you. Excuse me, just a reminder that Thursdays on the Platts have started, so every Thursday through the end of August from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. we'll have West Main Street and Market Street closed as they abut Radigan Platts for that event. A couple of meetings coming up this week. Bid number 1, which is our hotel bid, they are having their quarterly meeting. That is this Wednesday, July 17th at 3 p.m. in the large conference room. Bid number 2, which is our downtown business improvement district, they're having their meeting also on Wednesday, July 17th at 10 a.m. in the large conference room. Bid number 2 is also hosting another public meeting in the downtown streetscape project. We had one of those June 20th or so. It was a Thursday evening. I don't recall the exact date. So they're going to have another public meeting. They'll have information available on the plan, some feedback that they received last time, some concepts that they've tried to respond to the public comments that they've had. So the public meeting where they'll be talking more about the streetscape plan, and the property owners are invited to participate in that, is Monday, July 29th at 7 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. The Planning Commission does meet next Monday, July 22nd at 5:30. They're continuing their work on the zoning code. They've been going through that, reviewing potential updates. I believe those proposals will be coming to the City Council in September based on the current schedule that they have right now. And then at your next City Council meeting on August 5th, you will hear a variance request. The applicant is Han Development, and this is for a project that they are constructing or hope to be constructing at the northeast corner of North Norbeck Street in Roosevelt, and they're requesting a variance to reduce the number of required parking spaces. So I believe the public notices on that start this week, but just to give you a notice that that'll be on your next meeting on August 5th.
Thank you, John. Comments or questions for our City Manager? Anyone? Okay, seeing none, then we'll turn to invoices payable. Stump Mike. On number 26, for Mr. Peters, is that an unusual amount or is that typical?
That would be the second quarter profits plus the monthly fee. So yes, that is, comes 4 times a year, the larger amount.
Thank you. Council?
Move to pay our bills, second.
Motion is second to pay our bills. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We have no consensus agenda, Steve.
No? Move we adjourn.
Motion is second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.